And a special thank you, as always, ladies and gentlemen. This week, Chris Masters on the show. It was lots of fun. So big thank you, big shout out. Thank you to the masterpiece, Chris Masters, on the show. Lots of really cool insight that Masters offered for this week. And awesome. So big thank you to Chris Masters for being on the show tonight. Really good insight, really good take on his, departure from Impact Wrestling. And I think I think he has some really good points of why he left. And so, yeah, be sure to catch the audio piece of the interview and on the beginning of the show every week. So thank you to Chris Masters for this week. Of course, we are live and living color again, funky like a monkey, if you will. I am Chris Featherstone. Follow us at Crave Wrestling and join the Facebook fan page, Crave Wrestling. We are also live on the Wrestling Inc. Facebook Live. As always, with some trivia coming and with some fun coming, as we do every single week here on the Pancakes and Powerslams show, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, after the show this week, be sure to catch it on the YouTube page. Thank you so much for all the YouTube support, for all the Facebook support, for all the Twitter support. Usually every Raw, there's a message that I get about something related to the Pancakes and Powerslams show, especially when it comes to Booker T. I got some messages this week on Raw because Booker T was back with Corey Graves. Although it looked like it was some tension, Booker T was able to step up to the plate, ladies and gentlemen. As the coach was gone, Booker T was able to fill in. You know why? Every single time, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, we got so many headlines to talk about this week. It's so funny, Nate, because the coach, he was tweeting and he said he didn't know. There was a report that said he was going to miss Raw. He didn't know about it. and then tweeted like, oh, okay, well, I guess I am missing Raw. So it was quite interesting. He is scheduled to come back next week. So, but I think Booker T did good. I like Booker T on commentary. He brings personality. I mean, I like Coach on commentary too, but it's really clear that he hasn't really followed the product a whole lot. I think that's pretty evident when it comes to when. It's funny if he was there 10 years, and it's pretty clear and evident that he doesn't follow the product now as much as he did before. So, but as far as Booker T goes, some people like him, some people don't. I like Booker T on commentary. I think he's brings that personality. He brings that spunk to the. He brings that personality and spunk to the commentating booth that it needs. I mean, I think we're getting overkill with Corey Graves. Honestly, I mean, you have the brand split, but then you get Corey Graves on Raw and SmackDown. You have Michael Cole and Tom Phillips saying, I want this person on Raw or on SmackDown, and Corey's like, well, it doesn't matter to me because I'm on both, so I'm not, somebody else could have that spot. Why haven't we seen Cena since Mania? The Heat with Nikki. No. Cena's Cena's a part-timer now. He's going to be there Friday. He's going to be at the Greatest Royal Rumble. He's going against Triple H. So took some time off after Mania. I've had my thoughts on John Cena. I've had my thoughts on John Cena, but he's did his thing. He's been in the WWE for 16 years almost, and he's been a pillar for the company. He's been there through and through. One of the longest standing people in the whole company. You can include people like Randy Orton John Cena. Yeah, that's right. I got a comment on the chat doing it via via text. Yes, I mean him and Orton. You know, they're people. They're pillars in the company. They both started in 2002, and they've been there ever since. So got to give it up to them in that sense. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we got so much to talk about. The co-host with the most, Evan Tech Proud. How is it going tonight?
All right, guys. Good to be here on the airwaves. It's raining very hard here in Baltimore. It's all good.
Baltimore weather.
Back and forth. Yeah, Baltimore weather.
Yes. Yes.
It's inconsistent. You know, it's like Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Ohio weather's the same way. Wow. Yeah.
My right ear is clogged up off and on, but it's all good.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Yep. As always. I got a comment saying, but he talked about The Rock. You know, it's funny, but because John Cena, he actually regretted. He actually took back those comments about The Rock that he had when he was calling him a part-timer and blah, blah, blah. He actually took back those comments about a couple of years ago, a year or two ago, maybe. We got so much to talk about. Just a quick show note. So, bad news for all the Videocast fans. The show will not be on Videocast next week or on YouTube. I will be going for major back surgery on Friday. So, show will go on. We will still have the show. Evan will be at the helm, and we also have some special guests. So, Pancakes and Powerslams show, 317 weeks strong. We have not missed a single week, and I've had back surgery in 2013 as well. Didn't miss the week. Well, I wasn't available. I think I might have been even called in. I don't even know. This is my dedication, but this surgery is more major than the one on the one in 2013 was a pretty big surgery, but I'm having a major surgery coming Friday for my back, and I'm really excited about it. It's a long time coming. I'm so excited to let you all know my journey with this surgery, and just so stay tuned. The show will go on. There will be a Pancakes and Powerslams show next week. So keep staying tuned as far as the audio is concerned. The video cast and the YouTube will be off next week, maybe the week after, but certainly next week. But it will resume in about a week or two, 2 or 3 weeks or so. So we'll keep you updated as far as just when it will be. Thank you, Jamie. Best of wishes, Jamie said. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to get back into just myself. Thank you, Granny. The best to you, Granny says. I'm so excited. I'm really big into working out, and I was a personal trainer for about 10 years, and so adamant about that. And so with my, it's funny. I posted on Facebook recently, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I got to the point, and I've had back problems for over 20 years, but it never stopped me from working out hard. Although my back would feel like crap every time. I was pressing 820 pounds and leg pressing, and I was looking at that. I was like, man, I'm so excited to get back there. My doctor told me after that I can't do it. So, but at the same time, with the surgery and with the recovery time, the physical therapy, I'm really excited to get back strong into something I love doing, which is working out. And so I'll be, one thing I've learned, and I'll say this now, I'll say this before surgery, Lord willing, after surgery. One of the best forms of accountability is transparency. So So when me being transparent, saying that I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about the journey. I'm excited about the intense, rigorous workout regimen that I'll be doing to get back to my goals, to get back to the shape that I that I want to be in. Not too far off from it, but at the same time, there's so many restrictions that I can do. That there's so many restrictions that I have now because my back is so bad, so wounded. So, but come Friday and come the time for recovery, I'm very, very excited for just a leaf turned new journey, and just a transformation. And I'm really excited about getting back to the things that I know so well of doing, and the regimen that I miss so much. I was just having a conversation with Teddy Hart, I believe, and wrestler Teddy Hart, and he looked at me. He's like, "Man, you look like you should be a professional wrestler." And I said, "Yeah, well, I used to amateur wrestle, but at the same time, it's like I appreciate that compliment, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I really want to just become intense, like super duper intense, and even get to the point where I'm, training others again." So thank you so much all for bearing that and hearing that kind of, disclaimer for the next couple weeks. And thank you so much for the well wishes already here in the chat room. And Evan's going to take the reins next week. He does a fantastic job. He's done before, and he'll do fantastic. We'll have a special guest and or guests next week, so stay tuned for that, and it's going to be fun.
Can't wait.
Absolutely.
To temporarily sit on the captain's chair, if you will.
If you will.
Become a little closer. It'll be in good hands.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
It'll be in good hands.
Absolutely. Other than just my back no longer hurting after over 20 years and being relieved from that, but I always look at things optimistically, and I will be able to, so that my surgery is the same day as the Greatest Royal Rumble. So, Lord willing, after surgery, I'll grab my phone or my laptop or my tablet or whatever, and turn on the network. I'll be in the hospital bed all day and all night recovering. So I might as well flip on the WWE Network and look at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So we will have the Greatest Royal Rumble predictions at the close of the show tonight, like we do predictions every single time. Every single time there's an event, we close it out with predictions. Fight of the Week this week is both Evan and I and the chat room are going to discuss some of the biggest failed pushes. Some of the biggest failed pushes of the decade. So since 2010, we're going to talk about, I guess you can say 2011, but we'll count 2010 as well. So since 2010, some of the people you can think of who's had the most failed pushes, the biggest failed pushes of the decade. We'll talk about that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we got an action-packed show. So many headlines tonight. Raw, SmackDown review, trivia. Speaking of trivia, let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. The first trivia question of the night is this: what year did Kane win the WWE Championship? What year did Kane win the WWE Championship? Headlines, here we go. Before we get to the first headline, good job, man. Already, RJ. Big ups. 1998. 1998. Before we get to the next question, Mike, you also said 1998 after RJ, so you get some credit for that. Let's do another one. What year did the Hardy Boys win their first WWE tag titles? what year did the Hardy Boys win their first WWE tag titles? Before we get to the first headline, let me address this question here. What does the winner of the Greatest Royal Rumble get? They get a big trophy. I mean, literally, they get a big trophy. So that's not very fun. But, yeah. I was thinking about that. Yeah, it was just, it 5 hours long, 6 hours including the pre-show.
WrestleMania was 5 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
WrestleMania itself.
Yep.
So I'm thinking this pay-per-view is going to be just as long, if not a little longer.
Yeah, scheduled for 5 hours. 6 hours counting the pre-show. But for me, it's like cool for me because I'll be in the hospital just watching the Greatest Royal Rumble for a third of my day. So that's a good way to pass time. 6 hours of my day watching the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm going to have the time to do it, so might as well. But for those who will be living normal lives, taking 6 hours out of your day is going to be pretty tough. It's always going to be that. It's always going to be. I see 2000s for the Hardys. Nope. Not 2000. It's always going to be tough for the WWE to try to slim down that 6 hour mark, that 5 hour mark. We got there. So doors open at like 5:30 Central Time in Louisiana when we went to WrestleMania. So we got there. Yeah, so we got there before the doors opened, but we got in the arena at 5:30 Central, and then the kickoff started at 6. So and went from 6 to about 11:30. So did it go to midnight? Or did it go to midnight? Yeah, it was about 11. It was about 11:30. A little after. Yeah. Yeah. So this one is going to be even longer because the pay-per-view scheduled for 5 hours and the kickoff scheduled for 1. So this is 6 hours. This is like Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom was 6 hours long. But the card was so stacked and the matches were so incredible. It didn't seem that long, but it was Wrestle Kingdom. They have super duper long shows too. People complain about WWE, but New Japan's not any better with Wrestle Kingdom. So, 1999 is the first year that the Hardy Boys won the tag team championships. Next question. What year did Lita win her first women's championship? Let's get to the first headline. So, unfortunately, Bruno Sammartino and Paul Jones passed away. They were 82 and 75, respectively. Two pioneers of the 70s. I mean, just Bruno in the 60s. I mean, he won. I think that's one of my trivia questions, so I'm not going to say the answer to that. But someone saying 2001. Nope, not 2001. She beat Stephanie McMahon for her first title. But yeah, go ahead.
Rest in peace, Mrs. Baba, who also passed away.
Yes, former owner of All Japan. Yeah. Yep. So let's see. Papa was. Let's see. No, it wasn't 97 to Greeny. I think 97. Lita was still with S.A. Rios, wasn't she? Or she might have been still in ECW. So, let's see. I think. I forgot when Baba passed. 2004. No, Roman, not 2004. She was well into her career at that time. April 14th. Motoko Baba, former All Japan president. So, all right. Yeah, so Baba, San Martino, and Paul Jones. San Martino was, I mean, just the 60s, and I mean, 8 years, ladies and gentlemen. 8 years. That is, to me, that would always be, it's so incredible. I mean, losing it, yeah, and then for the Iron, who broke the streak? Was it the Sheik? No, who broke the Koloff? Ivan Koloff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it was just, and back then it was like, Vince Senior was real big on the heel transitional champions. You know, the heel would keep the belt for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they would transition into like the new baby face. Yeah. So you know that's how it was with a few people. It was like that with Ivan Koloff. It was like that with the Iron Sheik. So yeah. I got a comment here. WrestleMania needs to come back to my hometown, Houston, again. I went when it was in the Astrodome, then NRG Stadium. Astrodome was 17, wasn't it? Yeah, I think 17. Yeah, I think that was 17. When was it in NRG? Oh, I'm sorry that you know the answer, David, who put that comment on there. When was it in NRG? I know 17 was in Astrodome, and I forgot when it was in NRG. So yeah, I mean, just Billy Graham. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Bruno Sammartino, just I mean, the 25. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 25 was in NRG. That was the triple threat with Cena, Edge, and Show, right? I think it was, yeah, it was Reliance Stadium, yeah. That was for the world title, I think, the triple threat, and then the WWE Championship was Orton Triple H, right? Yep. Yeah. 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 But yeah, I mean, just there's so much to say with San Martino. I mean, it really is. It's just the just the baby face. I mean, he was just the quintessential baby face. He was the Prince of MSG. I mean, like just the Madison Square Garden. I mean, he really made just really put WWE on the map when it comes to selling out MSG. And he was really that type of guy. And of course, he was before my time as far as just the heyday of his career. But I was able to catch him on the tail end of his career and his commentating, and I've looked at a ton of tapes and videos of him. Yeah, so and it's so funny. And of course, Larry Zbyszko, back in 1980, the big infamous heel turn. Yeah, I got a comment here saying perfect immigrant story. I agree. I listened to his Table for Three, and it was really awesome. Just how he told his story, and I've heard interviews before too. And of course, I looked at the Hall of Fame, and yeah, just a perfect story that he shared as far as just eluding Nazis and things like that. It was awesome, and just to be able to still have that much drive. Got a comment there, never be another Bruno. I agree. To have that much drive and determination to say, listen, I'm gonna make good. I'm gonna do, despite all the hurdles that are in my way, I'm gonna do right. I'm gonna do good for my family, and I'm gonna be driven, and I'm gonna have, my dreams are going to to overshadow my circumstances. So kudos to Bruno. Just such an amazing baby face. Really had an opportunity. He really had that magnetic ability to draw crowds to see him, to be able to overcome the latest foe. He reminded me of he paved the way for Hulk Hogan, as far as when Hogan was big in the mid 80s to the early 90s, that 5-6 year period that Hogan was big. It was like you would put heel after heel after heel his way, and Hogan drew so much because there were all these heels that were trying to get in his way, and he was able to overcome the heelish tactics. The next heel that came, no matter if it was The Undertaker or Big John Studd or Andre, King Kong Bundy, no matter who it was, Earthquake. You would have all these heels that would come, and he would be able to triumph from it. Bruno was like that in the 60s and the 70s, and was able to triumph the next heel that came his way, especially the 60s. He won it again. I believe he beat I think that was one of my questions. I was going to say an answer to one of my questions. Matter of fact, the Lita is 2000. That's the answer to Lita. Let me see. Let's do this. I'm going to ask this question because I was going to say the answer. Here's trivia question. What two people did Bruno Sammartino beat to commence his WWE Championship reigns? There you go. Question on deck. What two people did Bruno Sammartino beat to commence his WWE Championship reigns? So that's the question. I'm not going to say the answer here, but he had a short reign in 1973. I'm not going to say who he beat because that'll be a part of the answer. But his first reign was 8 years. So 1963 was, I believe, his first WWE Championship victory. So he was the king of the 1960s. And it's sad because him and Vince, I was looking at back in, I believe, 93 or 91. It was in the early 90s when they were on the Larry King Live show. And Bruno was very anti-Vince because, it's pretty evident that there was a lot of things going on in the 80s and that was kind of revealed in the early 90s as far as, reports from, Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin and Mel Phillips. That was very nasty. So there was a lot of reports that, a lot of ring crew people and, just read up on it. I'll let you read up on it as far as just those names were enticing people allegedly, and just really scum of the earth type of accusations. So read up on that. So it's evident that in the early 90s, stuff like that stuff was coming out, was being exposed. And Vince McMahon, really spent his time defending that in the early 90s, and Bruno was an advocate of defending those victims. And I was looking at a show when he was with Larry King Live, and it was Bruno and Vince. They were just going at it. I mean, they were just arguing, and it was pretty brutal. And that relationship, a lot of people don't know this. That relationship, that thing, that rift that Bruno had with Vince was mainly because of that. That was a huge portion of it. Bruno didn't like the direction of WWE. Didn't like the fact that he would hear things from personnel that weren't as popular backstage, and He would defend them. Vince would he would reject the claims, and then it upset Bruno substantially, and that caused a rift between him and WWE for quite some time. Triple H was the person that closed that bridge, and he was in the WWE Hall of Fame a few years back. Great speech, and he was able to bear the hatchet with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon had nothing but good things to say about him, recently, and had a really good tweet, a very honorable tweet during his death. So it was good that they were able to bridge that gap. But yeah, I mean, Bruno. And as far as Paul Jones are concerned, I remember Paul Jones from back in the Mid-Atlantic days, back in the 80s. That's right, man. Paul Jones Army. And I remember, yeah. And I remember when I started watching NWA, Manny Fernandez was a babyface, and he started teaming up with Rick Rude, and they were part of Paul Jones' Army. I forgot their name. I forgot what their name was. It was like Two Tones or two. Oh man, I forgot what the name was. It's like two tones, or I don't remember what it was. Too Tough, something like that. I'll maybe I can find it. It is going to bother me until I figure it out, but they teamed up, and part of Paul Jones' Army. And I remember it's funny because when the Boogie Woogie Man, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, the Awesome Twosome. Yes, that's what their name was. The Awesome Twosome. That was their name. So yes, Shasta Watley, absolutely. And so the funny thing was, that's when I started really getting into wrestling at the time, the NWA. And Paul Jones was the biggest. It was a huge villain at the time. The Boogie Woogie Man, Valiant, Jimmy Valiant. He would come with his referee striped pants on, and there was a little Boogie Woogie, and yeah, and he had this huge feud with Paul Jones. So he would have people, yeah, right. And so he would have, so he created this Paul Jones Army to feud with Jimmy Valiant and his boys. And he would I remember this was just textbook heel storytelling. It was amazing. And Paul Jones, he would put bounties on the head of Jimmy Valiant. And Valiant's boys would turn on him and join Paul Jones' Army and get the bounty. It was amazing. Yep. Turned on him. Pez Wally. Yep. Yeah. It was. Yep. Hector Guerrero stayed with them. Yep.
Hector and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
I would say with Paul Jones, probably one of the most underrated managers and wrestlers in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave him a shout out earlier tonight on my show, and because we have listeners of all ages, so a younger fan wasn't sure who he was.
Yep.
About 25, 26. So when I told him, I said, "Remember Lord Stephen Regal?" He was like, "Yeah." So remember the Earl of Eaton and Squadgate Taylor? So remember that manager, Sir William? He was like, "Yeah." I said, "That's Paul Jones."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, me growing up was the NWA. But the funny thing is, when he was Sir William, I didn't realize it was Paul Jones. I had no idea.
Sir William, I thought that was Dundee.
Nah, Sir William was Paul Jones.
Was it?
I thought it was Dundee. But I interviewed Dundee on my show. But yeah, go ahead. I'll find that out.
It is Bill Dundee.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I got it mixed up. It is Bill Dundee because he used to look alike.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
My apologies, man. My apologies. But you know, Paul Jones, that Army. I remember him and what's the other manager? Featherstone. Skandor Akbar.
Yes. Skandor Akbar.
For some reason, we get so overlooked. You know, Skandor Akbar in the original Legion of Doom.
Yes. That's when Jake Roberts was a part of it.
Jake Roberts was right.
Yeah.
Ken
Bundy was as well. You got 21. I give you 22. Yes, that will be a soundbite soon.
The only time we had Pancakes and Powerslams when you were snippet of endorsing
Yes.
any kind of behavior from
right.
managers.
Right.
Paul Jones is great. You know, Paul Jones and Skandor Akbar as a kid watching him was just something about him was just menacing. It wasn't flashy.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like real people that could they just remind me of cartoon characters. It's not like WWE, but just like real legit people that could really stick their army against you and beat you up.
Yeah.
But talk to Paul Jones, man. He's not. I don't remember WWE doing anything or mentioning him, but
they didn't, unfortunately. But
table for three or
yeah.
You do a table for three and do some kind of memorial for Paul Jones.
Yeah.
Triple H is, the students of the games know who he is, but Paul Jones, man, he was great. I don't use that term loosely in the business. There's a lot of good people, but he never smiled. I never once have seen Paul Jones smile.
That's he was a heel. He was. And it's funny because in the 70s, he was a very believable babyface for a while too. He teamed with Ricky Steamboat and teamed with Wahoo McDaniel, and yeah, he was the man in the 70s as well. But his heel turns were just, long gone are the days of just really shocking, menacing, just grimy heel turns, and I think that was, I loved heel turns back in the day. It was so incredible. It was so shocking. It was so much realness to it. Like, you were someone I looked up to. No, why? To me, it was just amazing. When Dusty Rhodes went to the dark side and became the Midnight Rider, he was under the mask, but it was pretty evident that it was Dusty. And I was like, oh man, what is going on? And it just, I remember when Garvin turned heel, I was devastated because, back in 87, he was feuding against Flair and he had that run. And then when he turned, I was like, oh my goodness. When Wyndham turned, it was a big deal to me. Yeah. And there was, just the turns were just so amazing back then, man. It was incredible. I really miss those type of heel turns. And WWE, the WWE had, Savage was a good turn. Back in the 80s, trying to figure out who. Andre was a good turn with going with Heenan.
I'll tell you one that got me as a kid was Rick Martel traded on Tito Santana.
Yes, Strike Force. Yes. Oh man, it was devastating. Yes, became arrogance. Yes, I remember that. Absolutely. Speaking of the 70s, superstar Billy Graham. Go ahead. Yeah. Join the $1 Million Corporation. Yeah, I remember that. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him though. Like his heel run was a disaster to me. The whole undefeated streak and everything, and when he, when Ludwig Borga basically just buried him, and then when he turned heel, just to me it was just he was trying a little bit too much. When he joined the $1 Million Corporation, it just didn't really fit. You got some type of good guy, Native American, character joining, doing it for the money now, joining DiBiase's $1 Million Corporation. Just, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing about joining groups like that. As a singles competitor, you join a faction that's a heel faction. Oh yeah, James, how could we miss that? Shawn Michaels' turn on Marty Jannetty was one of the greatest of all time. Absolutely. Barbershop. Tugboat, yeah, that's a good one too. When Tugboat turned, yep, that was a good one too. I'm sure there's more, but those are good ones. Yeah, that was a good one, Jamie. It's turns were fantastic. Speaking of heels, of someone a good heel, superstar Billy Graham. He is not only was he a good heel then, he's still healing it up. This guy had some very choice words to say about Ronda Rousey, and her Ronda Rousey and her time in the WWE so far. And there were plans that Triple H might have. So this is according to Meltzer. There were some discussions that Triple H was going to be the ones that, like I said before on the show, the point of the mixed tag match was to put Rousey over. I think it did a fantastic job. I think she did fantastic, getting over, and it did its job 100%. But they wanted to there was discussions of even taking it up a notch and having Triple H be the person that tapped to Ronda Rousey instead of Stephanie McMahon. And so Billy Graham, he went to Facebook and he went ape crap crazy. And yeah, it was crazy. He says, so I'm gonna hurry. I'm gonna hurriedly say what he said. He said, first off, to the fan who wrote, I find Ronda's use of Piper's gimmick nauseating. Well, first of all, he named it Ronda. He titled this rant Ronda Lousy versus Triple H. So about the person who finds Piper's gimmicks, use of Piper's gimmick nauseating, he said, you, my brother, are dead on, my man. I find it a total insult and absolutely reveals that she does not have an original thought in her head. Darn, but he said the D word. Can't she be an original at anything? This shows you how shallow she is. And by the way, females being the main event, she and I talked about Amanda Nunes kicking her butt in 48 seconds and calling Nunes a real fighter versus Rousey a real jobber, which is crazy. And then he says about the Meltzer thing that I just said. He said, what? Miss Lousy was going to make H tap out. This would have received as well as a cement truck full of pig crap, with the S word, being dumped on the Mania 34 fans. God, folks, what is the WWE thinking? Rousey is not a god of some kind, but a mere female times UFC failure that got her A kicked twice on the way out. Now, this is nauseating. I demand that you fans respond to this crap the WWE is trying to lay on you by even thinking about her making Triple H tap out. God, this makes me sick. All right. Wow. Yeah. I think that he didn't win bingo that day. What was that? What was that marked? That was marked. I don't know the actual day of that. I can try to find out, but it was about a week ago. And just wow. I don't understand. April 16th, so 9 days ago. I don't understand the I don't understand the hate, really. I think that Rousey's transitioned fantastically, into the WWE. And it just, she's a fresher Brock Lesnar to me. Brock Lesnar came back in 2012. It was fresh. It was needed. It was that, and I've said this plenty of times. People crap on part-timers as much as they want, but it's the part-timers that makes, we saw it with the ratings on Raw. It was a huge drop from the first hour to the third hour. And the first hour was had Lesnar in it. And so it was one of those things that you can crap on the part-timers as much as you want, but the part-timers, the Lesnars, the Takers, those are the ones that are drawing. Those are the ones that are, making WWE have stronger pitches to the companies as far as television deals, because that's what the WWE looks at. People, WrestleMania every year is good to look forward to as far as a one-night gate, but the real investment is the TV deals. That's the reason why there's some speculation that they're trying to get with Fox. Their deal with USA ends next fall of 2019, and the Fox deal. There was now to up the ante. ESPN's partnering with Fox to get the UFC deal back on, and WWE's met with Fox, late last year, to possibly go to the network. So TV deals is where it's at. So drawing those ratings and drawing those numbers, that's what the WWE looks at. And unfortunately, you can say what you want, but the numbers don't lie. The people who are there every week, as much as I like Seth Rollins is, and I said that he's getting a Tyler Black style feel to him again. I really liked when it was Tyler Black in ROH, and Rollins and Rollins is one of my top 5 current superstars on Raw now. I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins again, and I like, and it's great to feel that way, because if people listen to the show, from when he turned heel and when he first came, I just wasn't a fan, unfortunately. But now I'm a fan of Seth Rollins. He's one of my favorites. But unfortunately, Seth Rollins is not going to draw he's not going to boost ratings. He's not, unfortunately. And people like Ronda Rousey, they will. Like it was a whole, we'll get to Raw, but it was a whole different type of feel when you had 10 women in the main event. It was a whole different feel when Ronda Rousey came out and tackled and and put Mickey James in the STO. It was a whole different feel to that. Compared to all the 10 women that were in the ring, Ronda Rousey came out and it was an entirely different feel to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ronda Rousey looks like a garbage pail can to me. a little bit. Nothing against her. Sometimes she kind of like a, Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Yeah.
She has that smug look. That's like a trademark.
Yeah.
Everything with her face. You can crack on part-timers. They make the money. The Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
You can't really count Triple H as corporate. But you'll count your boys. The Shawn Michaels, the Triple H's, the Stings, the Undertakers, the Stone Colds, the Brock Lesnar's. That's where the money's at. People will pay. The Rocks, Hogan. They're going to pay to see these legendary names. Flair. Because they're legends. Nobody in the current roster right now really can sell anything out or make anything right now unless you're Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after Roman Reigns, AJ Styles. Even after that,
And even see,
gotta have somebody to win.
and I've said that, I think it was last week or the week after. I mean, I love AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. AJ is the man. He is one of the greatest wrestlers in the entire world, hands down. I will make that disclaimer. But AJ Styles as WWE champion is not exciting. It's not. It's not exciting. And he's been champ. He's been champ almost 6 months, and about 5.5 months, and his run has been. I mean, and it has nothing to do with him in the ring because he's incredible in the ring. Still, his music is still captivating. Still gets AJ Styles chance, not as much as he used to though. But fans still like him. Merch is still high. So he's dotting every I and crossing every T, and all the just about all the check marks are all the boxes are checked. But we see him every week. They don't protect his character because he loses non-title matches. He continues to get one-upped, every week. So it's like, how is he different from anyone else? And James is making a good comment here. WWE is having trouble making the next big superstar like Stone Cold. Here's the thing with Austin. Austin, he would overcome Vince, but he would still make Vince look like an idiot every week. Like he would come out, he would cut a promo, he would stun Vince, he would stun someone else. Like Vince would rarely get a one-up on Austin, but he would put people in Austin's way to try to try to one-up him. But Austin was still Austin didn't lose much. He wasn't that person who jobbed out to someone just randomly, or every week. He would be on TV every week, but he just wouldn't be in some random match job and getting jobbed out by somebody.
And to that point with Vince was a equal heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Austin being as hot as he was, you still had to deal with Vince and the corporation.
Right.
And Vince at times did get the upper hand on Austin, or even though Austin may have won a match, it was still like a one-up. Vince was one-up on him.
Yeah.
To say he won, but you got to deal with this.
Exactly.
This, that, and other. And
but it would still make Austin look good though, because he would get the win, but he would get attacked, or Vince McMahon would try to one up him still.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing, even with with Bischoff for WCW.
Yeah.
WWE,
yep.
Hogan barely lost, and you barely got your hands on Hogan because you had to go through the Paul and Nash in 6,
right?
And Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
BK Washington, we'll take it with that.
Or Horace.
Or the Nasty Boys. Or Chono.
Or Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray. And I'm just
Yeah, but he didn't he shouldn't have been in no NWO. It was terrible.
When we know Stevie outside of the business, we didn't type for the 50 years. Stevie running on cash. Look, I'm doing what I got to do.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly. I mean, if I was Stevie Ray, I would accept the offer too. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't have accepted the offer as a business person. Absolutely. I mean, NWO is the hottest thing going on right now. And you're asking me to be a part of it? Yeah, absolutely. But from yeah, but that was a lot of times that was during his feud with Booker T though, and it just didn't work out. It was like at that point the NWO was so diluted that the power of it just was not even relevant anymore. I had Bischoff on my show and we talked about that. So, yeah.
Anybody on top, Rain over the top, standing there part of time. Now Rain, and I'll talk about Raw later on. Reigns is the top. He's the one carrying the WWE proverbial flag.
Yeah.
One is messed up because you want Reigns to be a face, but people are booing him like a heel. You want Brock to be a heel, they're cheering him as face. Brock's part-time, so Brock isn't there, which is not a peak. There's no formidable foe, and there's really no heel, legit heel in WWE right now.
No. Baron Corbin, but he's not over yet. So,
and to the caller, and to the listener that said a good point about making homegrown talent is, I mean, you said, well, this is why fellas going off air. People on my show a lot. Is within the past 10 to 15 years, you can not even use two hands of how many homegrown talent WWE has had.
That's been successful.
The last homegrown talent WWE has had has been successful.
Yeah.
You have Cena, you have Orton, you have Batista, you have Brock. Who are we missing?
Edge.
That's four.
Well, he wasn't even homegrown because he was in WCW beforehand.
Edge doesn't count.
No. So Cena.
Edge is still
Cena, Batista, Orton. That's really it. Because and well, Cena, yeah, 15 years, 12 years, yeah.
Cena Orton's been there for 16, 17 years. So in the past 16 to 17 years, you only can come up with 4 or 5 homegrown talent that's back off the show.
Wow.
Batista, Brock, Orton, Cena. Well, I think that's 4. Who we missing? Yeah, Orton, Brock, Cena, Batista.
Yeah, the class of 2002. Yeah, the 2002 class.
He doesn't count because he came in the 90s, and that was kind of the down period of the territory.
Right.
So people like Edge, Christian, Hardy, Jericho. I mean, Jericho don't count because he's older than him. Edge and Christian was kind of like the guy getting the territory.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So out of 17 years, we only had 4 homegrown studs. So that's the problem right now. There's no heel in WWE that can really help push Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
You got Miz, that's it.
I got a couple.
People cheer him.
Yeah, he's doing a good job trying to keep that, staying a heel, which I love. I love when heels stay heels and don't embrace babyface reactions. I love that. Like, you know what? You know who's doing a really good job with that? Carmella. Big shout out to Carmella. So I think Carmella's doing a really good job at that. Just keeping that, because it's so easy. These fans, these daggone fans, are so easy. You know, Mark Henry. I've I covered a live interview at WrestleMania. Mark Henry was part of a live interview that I was there in the building doing coverage, and Mark Henry said the same thing. He said it publicly as well, but he said this at the interview. He said, "Man, these fans are too easy." Like he said that multiple times. I agree with them so much on that. I mean, these fans literally, it's so true. These fans are too easy because it's like anybody can say anything and you'll cheer them, and then the next line you'll boo them. It's like you literally got like you have these fans at the palm of your hands by the next line, and it's like, man, whatever happened to the days where a heel would be so, I mean, and some of the heels, you know, some of the heels are just like, you know, yeah, I'm getting cheered, I'm going to embrace it. No, that's ridiculous. That doesn't make you a heel. And I remember back in the day, I remember when I interviewed Jake Roberts, you know, he was talking about people would threaten him, would threaten his life. You know, there would be times that he would have to come out with security, you know, that because, you know, he was such a good heel. There were times where he would come out and his tires were slashed. Like, it was serious. It was some serious stuff. If you were a heel back in the day, you were a heel. You know, you were hated. It wasn't, I mean, like, kayfabe was a big deal. Like, you were, like, people thought that you were a legitimate bad guy who hated the world, and you came outside, and that rental car that you're driving, say bye-bye to the tires. So, someone's
Here in the hotbed of NWA country, WCW, Baltimore, Maryland, sorry, Ohio, it wasn't though.
Wait a minute. We had some early WWE. Like, what the first Survivor Series was in Richfield, wasn't it? Let's see. Yeah, I think it was in Ohio. The first Survivor Series, I think it was.
I love Ohio. I'm in Ohio a few times every year, but as far as the territory, the NWA WCW was here, Baltimore, Maryland. There's a book dedicated. I gotta put my city on because we don't get popular news much. You know that.
Richfield, Ohio, November 26, 1987. Richfield, Ohio, Survivor Series, and they would have a lot of things. But they would have, like, when they would have the Great American Bash tours, they would have them in Dayton.
Ohio is important.
Yep. But you're right. Baltimore is. Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah.
Baltimore, North Carolina, Atlanta, there was the hotbed. And the reason why I say that, because Ohio was important too, but here was the Horsemen in the 80s.
Yeah.
You hated it. I said, started Battle, you can look at it, called Battleground Baltimore. The boy book, I'm friends with the author and quoted in it. I had some of my program officials in it. The horse, I'm seeing fans literally try to go over the guardrail to grab players, to grab the horsemen, to whoever, the Russians, you know, Nikita, you know, Ivan, Nikita. People,
my Uncle Ivan.
The Midnight Express, and it was legit.
Yeah.
This is when we used to be able to sit, and maybe any fans that's listening now that either if you're younger and don't know, or if you're older and don't remember, we got to sit close to the ring, all that space like it is now.
Yep.
The guardrail was right near
the. It was an actual rail. It was an actual rail. Yeah.
So, fans literally wanted to cheer the Flair and the Horsemen and the Russians. You thought Nikita was anybody that was a heel. Doing that, Gary Hart. You wanted to go after them.
Oh yeah.
After the show, oh, can I get your autograph? I say it's probably Featherstone. I was bar 25. We stayed at the same hotel as WWE. Me and Elias was on the same floor, 2 doors down. Great guy. Times change. He's a heel. We on the elevator. He's a big guy. We talking to last week's fans, dressing up like a least got an autograph. You didn't do that in the 80s?
No. Oh, no. No way. Yeah, sure would. I would sit under the learning tree of Bobby Fulton a lot. I've talked to him plenty of times. I've had him on the show before, but I've talked to him on the phone. I've talked on the phone with him a bunch of times. And just sitting under the learning tree from, for someone like him, he would tell me how, just how it was, back. And I've seen it. I saw it, I started watching wrestling in the 80s. And even, before then in the 70s, it was for real. I mean, they had different locker rooms. They had different entrances. They couldn't be around each other. I remember Ricky Steamboat saying this before, like he couldn't be around, he was good friends with Flair, but he couldn't be seen with Flair. Like everything had to be private. I mean, like just it's like, that's wrestling, man. I mean, it's a whole different thing with social media nowadays, but the element of baby faces and heels can still stay the same. Here's the answer to the Bruno Sammartino question. Buddy Rogers, 1963. And then 10 years later, 2 years after he lost the title, he regained it from Stan Stasiak. 1973. Someone saying Bobby Roode should have stayed heel. See, here's the thing with Roode. I'm okay with Bobby Roode being the babyface if he stays with the glorious thing, because this is one thing I don't like. If a heel turns into a babyface and keeps the same stuff, that's that they're just cheering them now because they're a heel and people like to cheer heels. That I don't like that, because there's no point. You're just turning the person with the same. You're turning person heel, but they're getting cheered. So that doesn't make sense. Kudos to what they did with Shinsuke, because and Corey, and I didn't say the best thing about Corey earlier in the day. Corey did, he did have a good explanation of, he said, this happened on SmackDown. He said, the reason why Shinsuke Nakamura changed his music is because he was tired of the people singing along with him. I'm like, yes, that is heel. That is a heel being a heel. It's saying, I'm going to change. You know what? I don't want you all to cheer I don't want you all to sing along with my entrance music no more. I don't want to do that. I want Need to Face, and that's what makes Shinsuke Nakamura a great heel, and he's been doing fantastic. He was really good in New Japan, so it doesn't surprise me at all that he's been really good. And that's what makes a heel a heel. Like, he got to the point where not only am I going to change my character, I'm going to turn heel, but I'm not going to do a whole lot of dancing anymore. I'm not going to go to the crowd. I'm not going to do the pose that he does when he gets into the ring, draping over the rope. None of that. None of it. And I'm going to change my music to make me even more of a heel, because I don't want any crowd participation. Absolutely. See, those little things. See, when people say that WWE doesn't have it anymore, I disagree with that. I don't think WWE is putting the effort in it with just faces and heels. But if they want to, if they have the ability to do something like that, which we just saw with Nakamura, they to make him a stronger heel, and I think that they've been doing a great job with him so far. Camping World Stadium. We were at Camping World Stadium last year. They're petitioning to bring back WrestleMania to Orlando. They're actually having a petition, so it brought in a lot of money. It doesn't surprise me one bit. I think I might have enjoyed. See, I was at Orlando and New Orleans. I think I might have enjoyed New Orleans better, but I think I enjoyed Orlando's stadium and WrestleMania better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think I enjoyed Orlando better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A little better than New Orleans.
Yeah.
The city of New Orleans, of course, over Orlando.
Yeah.
But the actual venue, I put Orlando. And I know he was in that Dallas. Dallas was great too. I would say Orlando, Dallas, and then New Orleans.
How was the reception in Dallas? Because Dallas is domed too, but it has the detachable roof, though, doesn't it?
It does.
Was the roof up or was it down in Dallas?
I'm trying to remember. I think they closed it. Yeah, I think they closed it. When it started getting late, they ended up closing it. It was open when the show started.
Gotcha.
And as it started getting late, they closed it.
Okay.
That WrestleMania felt like literally 10 hours.
Did it really?
For some reason, that Mania went in Dallas. And I'll go back after the show. Just for anybody listening in, could you let us know the duration of WrestleMania 20? Was that
32?
WrestleMania
32 was in Dallas. Yeah.
Let us know the duration of that, please. Because WrestleMania this year we were at 5 hours and 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That WrestleMania in Dallas literally allowed you not felt like 10 hours.
33 was long too. I think it was longer than 34 was, because it was close to midnight by the time we got out there after they did the whole ceremony with Taker after he lost the reins. Yeah, I think that was long. I think it was longer than 34.
Not to mention we waited 2 hours just to get food from Burger King.
That was fun. That was McDonald's, I think it was. Yeah, that was
McDonald's.
It was originally McDonald's, and the line was so long. I think we went to Wendy's. Yeah. But I saw you. I saw your experiment that you did. The post about the chicken sandwich. Yeah.
Anybody listening that wants to know very quickly, I purchased the mixed chicken from McDonald's on March the 3rd, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Said it correctly. 2017, March the 3rd. That was on, I forgot what day of the week. And I currently still have it. Today being April the 24th. Technically now April 25th, 2018. I have it posted on my personal Facebook. It looks exactly the same. It's just rock hard.
Wow.
No mold, no smell, no anything. It's just rock hard. The lettuce doesn't mold. The chicken patty looks the same. The bread still looks the same. So what are we eating when we digest McDonald's?
A whole lot of preservatives. That's what we're eating. Yes. Wow. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Taz not happy with the use of Bobby Lashley. We'll get to that when we get to Raw as far as Lashley is concerned. Greatest Royal Rumble, we'll get to the predictions here soon. But the Greatest Royal Rumble, the ticket and seating issues. So the WWE is looking to fill up the stadium. The stadium seats 62,000, I believe. Now, with the construction, it'll probably be less, probably be around, I'd say probably 58 or so, 57, probably, mid to high 50s as far. So you're still looking between 55 to 58,000 seats filled. So it's going to be big. They haven't even sold out. This is the King Abdullah Sports, I believe, arena. And so they had big soccer, big soccer games and everything like that. So they haven't even sold out a soccer game. So WWE is looking to sell this thing out. So they're selling tickets between like $3 and $5 and like $2 and some change and $5 and some change. So they, I mean, converted to U.S. currency. So they're really serious about filling these seats up. However, because of like the culture in Saudi Arabia, they're real big on just a family look, a family image, and so single woman can't. There's no such thing as a single female ticket. The single male, the bachelor male seats are like on the outskirts, like away from the center. The floor seats are reserved for the president and his colleagues and celebrities. And then the seats after that are family only seats. So you have to have, it has to be a male and it has to be a female has to be included in these family seats. And of course, if there's children. So they're real big on that. Because of that, and then the bachelor seats sold out. There could be some reopening. Twitter went awry. There were some people emailing WWE. There was a fan on Twitter said that he didn't even get any notification that his seats were changed. They didn't get any type of email or any type of no type of message of where it's going to be, where the change is. And so it's been pretty crazy. Hopefully they flesh all that out. And so, hopefully. Taz also talks about when superstars lose their push. Really good article I wrote on Wrestling Inc. about that. He said that it's a slow burn, and a lot of times they don't notice when their push happens. And he talked about one person who he feels that is kind of getting like further down on the priority ladder is Sasha Banks. And I agree. Well, there's so many people who are ahead of her. It's just a part of that's a part of the business. I mean, it really is. It's like, you get pushed one day and you lose the next. Look at Becky Lynch. It's like Becky Lynch is like, she's one of my favorites, and she's probably in my top three. I would say my top three right now is Naomi. No, on the main roster is Naomi, Ember Moon, and Becky Lynch. I like Asuka too. So yeah, those are my top four. I say Naomi, Ember Moon, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch, I mean, she was the inaugural SmackDown Live Women's Champion, and she was a pillar in the SmackDown Live roster, feuding with Alexa Bliss, feuding with Mickie James, and now she's an afterthought. And it's unfortunate because she's one of the best on the roster, but there's so many people in front of her now that it's really unfortunate for her.
Yeah, that's true. Sasha Banks, you got to think you're getting about an influx of newer talent. So the good thing about Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, definitely Sasha Banks, is her stock is so high and so big, and she can leave the Dixie Mansion and not be booked as strong. And then, like you said, next week she can go right on back to being just as strong and being one of the top ladies of the whole division, because she's on the same level as Charlotte. So the good thing about Sasha Banks, she can take control for a bit. She had a moment. Everyone can't be on the top. You know what I mean? The thing is, you have Ember Moon, and you have all the new Riot Squad, and you have these
the Riot Squad. Oh gosh. Matter of fact, you know what? Riot Squad. Mm.
Yeah.
Especially.
Would you prefer the Riot Squad or PMS?
Neither.
I can keep going with the damn female tables.
Oh, I'll keep going with the buzzers too. Yeah, there's so many that unfortunately it's yeah. That's the Riot Squad is I think that was probably the worst main like big move. You had like Mojo coming over. But Riot Squad, I mean, I understand because the Iconics and Absolution moved over to SmackDown Live, but man, like the Riot Squad is so green and so out of place on the Raw roster. Is just, it's terrible to me. And just real quick before we get to Raw and SmackDown, we actually about to get into the flavor of the week here in just a bit. Just quick Raw and SmackDown thoughts. China's manager closes down a GoFundMe that he had. That was he wanted $25,000 for a China memorial, and he said he had a fourth of the ashes in an urn, and he wanted to have a memorial, and China's mom quickly intercepted that and said it was a scam. He only had 2 donations totaling $35 because mom was like, no way. Even X-Pac stepped in and said that the ashes were scattered, and so he closed it down. And so very very controversial thoughts on that as far as the fan comments. They thought it was a scam, and it's sad because she's been gone 2 years and there's still craziness going on with that. So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate.
Yeah, the only time X-Pac actually came in for a stage, we all actually loved it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, real quick, what's your Raw and SmackDown Live thoughts before we get into the flavor of the week and the greatest Royal Rumble predictions?
Raw is becoming a Braun Strowman show. Monday night is Braun.
Yeah.
T-Rex to drop Corey Graves. Okay. To love Booker T is making weird noises when Ronda Rousey did what did she call the STL, that arm lock? That's why we love you.
Oh, man. Right.
That's why we love you, Booker T. I love Elias winning with the roll-up. I'm really loving Drew and Dolph. I love their tag team, even though it seems weird, but it gives Dolph something to give and Drew and tag team. All Black wrestlers matter. Our brothers just keep getting thrown to the wolves, just getting beat up for no reason.
Yeah.
Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
I love Seth Rollins being over, and a lot of people was calling Balor now LGBT Balor. Everyone mad at Balor. That's off. You weigh 110 pounds soaking wet. And for me to believe that you can beat someone who's jumping off the top rope and they weigh double or they're about 2.5 sizes bigger than you is unbelievable.
So I have a new finisher. I have a new finisher for his name. It's called the Tickler. So when he when he stomps you, it's like someone tickling your belly.
Bo Dallas is for the actors in the land of purgatory.
They are.
Point out with Bo Dallas is take over the Wyatt gimmick. Since Woken Wyatt is what I call him, that tag team, just has him struggle. Had Sister Abigail, the DSC, take over him. Overall, I thought Raw was okay. Roman Reigns so bland. Gosh, you're so over, man. Everything about you is generic. You believe that. I don't know how I'm going to leave with the championship. Willie Reigns, is that really all you have to say? Really?
It's scripted.
It's my yard. It reminds me of the 80s, and it's not really his fault. But it's like, is this like an 80s B-list action movie? It's like, how ruined. overall, I thought Raw was decent. It was, like you told me before watching, it was okay. Shout out to the women doing the main event. Still don't get burned it down with Seth Rollins. You met my lovely girlfriend by the stone. Every time we hear that, we just start laughing like, burn what down? I just real quick, across from my girlfriend's condo, there's some kids. We're talking about the Randy Orton kids. One of the kids put his buddy in the RKO earlier today. That match actually was better than some of the matches that was on Raw last night.
Yeah.
SmackDown, Josh Benjamin is there to lose. SmackDown back to the feature 2005.
He won, though.
And I love the knock. Yeah, he did. He did. Which is surprising. With the type of the masked wrestler, Ginger King.
Yeah.
Gotta be Josh, he looks so small. I read Nakamura. That's the highlight of SmackDown. Nakamura, the different music, the crotch chop now. I did like the big story of Carl Anderson saving AJ Styles, taking the knee to face or whatever you call it, the Shining Wizard.
Kinshasa.
Or how to make whatever. Kinshasa. But I like the new Nakamura. I speak no English. Doing the low blow, which is probably move in TK19. I didn't sound like that story.
No speak English. Yeah. Cool. All right, real quick. Raw for me. I think Bobby Roode's going to turn. If they're doing that to set up just a Bobby Roode Elias feud, just that 50-50 crap, I can't stand it. Sammy and Kevin, that was the Sammy and Kevin show was cool. To me, the highlight was just the showcase of Bobby Lashley and Braun. Taz doesn't like the way that Bobby Lashley's being used. It makes sense because he was talking about how he shouldn't have been in the 10-man and so forth. And I agree with that. I mean, push Bobby Lashley. People are saying turn him heel. No, don't turn him heel because he won't be able to turn to use the mic as much as he did in Impact. Yeah. So, I mean, he got a lot better in Impact, but he won't last if he was trying to be on the mic on Raw. Just they won't give him that much mic time, and plus it's scripted, so it wouldn't even make sense. So that would be a bad call. And then we got to roll. And then the Raw was good. Chad Gable winning, that was interesting. And I've talked about the Rousey thing, and I agree with the Dolph and Drew thing. And then Big Cass still looks great. So that would be interesting. I'm okay with him and Daniel Bryan. It's a good way to use Bryan right now, and the story made sense too. Asuka losing again. I guess they just don't care anymore about her, which is very sad because they got something going there. Naomi being involved with the Usos angle, I'm cool with. And then, I've talked about Shinsuke. So, all right. So real quick, the flavor of the week. We only got a few minutes left, so just going to be real quick.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
All right. So I saw a couple of names on here on the chat. Someone said Ezekiel Jackson. I think that was a good one too. I actually chat with him still. It was. Someone said he would have been a good heel champ. Yeah, I mean, they pushed him very well, but of course, the names I have is Ryback, Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler. Although, Ziggler's a failed push because they didn't do anything with him. They perhaps now, but maybe too little, too late. Alex Riley, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr., Carlito, and Chris Masters. We just had him on the show tonight, so. So that's that. So, so much Manu legacy. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. All right. So we got a few minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into these, greatest Royal Rumble predictions. All right. So we have, just real quick, John Cena, Triple H. Who you got?
Vince McMahon is the ultimate I'm just joking. John Cena wins. Triple H doesn't. Triple H puts everybody over for big matches. He doesn't win big matches much.
Except for Sting. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cena, yes, I agree. Cedric Alexander or Kalisto?
Cedric Alexander wins. And I declare if he comes up with new gear for this event that he didn't beat WrestleMania, put him on the prayer list.
I got Cedric as well. Bludgeon Brothers or the Usos?
Oh gosh. Bludgeon Brothers.
Yes, I agree, unfortunately. I think we both were going with Undertaker against Rusev. I think that's pretty much of a given. The Bar or Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy? Yes, absolutely. Jeff Hardy or Jinder Mahal? Yes, Jeff Hardy. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, or The Miz? I think they may do Balor. I want Rollins to win. I like Rollins, but they may do Balor. Styles or Nakamura?
I would say Nakamura just to do something unexpected, but right now Nakamura, the money's in the chase, even though he's a heel, so one's just going to be going after the belt. So AJ Styles.
I say Styles. I say Nakamura takes it at Backlash. Yeah, a year after. I think he debuted last year's Backlash. So, and Lesnar and Reigns.
Reigns will win. People, either way you say it will be mad. I say Reigns probably wins so far.
Yep.
Trying to pull UFC fight.
I agree. Reigns wins. Who wins the greatest Royal Rumble match?
Maybe Daniel Bryan. I don't even know. I was talking to him all day. Yeah, Daniel Bryan, maybe. Big Show. I thought he was retired. I honestly don't know, man. I'm just going to live with the Daniel Bryan.
I got Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman will win. Yeah. He is, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, 300 and someone's saying cry back. Cry back. Yeah, he can be that. 317 episodes in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Someone also saying Braun Strowman. I agree. Thank you so much for the interaction, as always, on the Wrestling Inc. Facebook. And, of course, this will be on Wrestling Inc. YouTube soon. Of course, thank you so much. Thank you for all the support. Again, no live chat or no live stream or YouTube next week, maybe the week after. Going to major back surgery on Friday, but I will be tweeting. I will be updating. Feel free to tweet me at Chris Prolific. The Pancakes and Powerslams shows at Crave Wrestling. Follow Crave Wrestling on Facebook and Twitter. I am at Chris Prolific, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much for your well wishes, and I will definitely continue to let you know my update and what I'm doing. Thank you so much for all your support, ladies and gentlemen. 317 episodes in the book. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless you all, and always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.